There we go. Halito everybody. Welcome back. This is CT at the Native Reality, and today we're going to be reviewing Love During Lockup. Now, this is going to be the first episode of the new season, even though they give us headaches and call it episode number 42, but it's number one for me for the new season. So it's been a while since we've seen, them behind bars. We've been seeing everybody adjusting to life after they get out of prison, but we get a whole new crop of absolute um, interesting people. Okay, so we start off with Jade, and she's 33. Oh, by the way, this is CT. If you guys didn't know, if this is your first time tuning in, this is going to be brought to you from an urban Native American mixed perspective and a secular perspective. So let's dive right on in. So Jade is 33, and she is with Chris, who's 39. Now he is in, or I don't know, he or she. I guess maybe she lives in Naples, Florida, and he's locked up. Now they met on a pen pal website, and like a prison pen pal website, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this girl, she's a nice enough looking girl. I'm just, it's kind of like, I'm kind of floored, but I'm looking around. It looks like she lives in a very nice place, and it's clean and beautiful. Everything looks new. And then she mentions to us that Chris has been buying everything. He bought the camper, he bought the house, he bought the couch. He just showers her with all these, gifts. And he's getting 10 grand a month, and he is enrolled in his tribe. He belongs to a Native American tribe, so he gets money. So 10 to 12 grand a month. A month. Now, people I know in the Native community who do get money, I mean, that could be, it's usually, well, the people, like I said, the people that I know of, they get quarterly. So that's like every 3 months or so, but like every month. So if he's getting that kind of money every month, man, he's doing pretty good. So, I guess he has the money to spend. So she's like, why not? So they decided to go ahead after 7 months of communicating and, long distance dating to get married. So they're husband and wife now. And, it's very interesting. So now he went in for ID theft and something else. And he has some addiction issues from the past. He was on meth, she said, and he is due to be released next year in 2024. So next we have Letitia, who's 36, and Keith, who's 34, and she is in Davenport, Iowa. Now, she is a business owner, and she met Keith through her cousin. Or no, she met Keith through Keith's cousin, who had a friend, and it was just like a friend who knew a friend kind of thing. And, hold on one second. Let me make sure. Uh-oh. Hang on in there for a second. I don't know what's been going on with my internet. Okay, there we go. I don't know. The internet's been acting really crazy today, or actually, I don't know. I think that's my software. Anyway, so yeah, like she owns a tax business. Like it's kind of crazy. Like, wow. I mean, she looks like she has a lot going for herself, and and he's now become her partner in the business. And I'm like, oh my God, like, oh my God. And she seems like a real hardcore ride or die, don't say nothing about my man, like one of those types. And oh my God, this is going to be a roller coaster this year. I mean, she is just so like devoted to him. And it's like, how well do you even know this guy? So that's her. So next we have is Ramika, and she's 34, and she's dating Asante, who's 32, in Louisville, Kentucky. And she owns an eyelash vending, or she owns 5 eyelash vending machines. Another entrepreneur. I mean, they're so smart in some ways, and then in other ways, it's just like, oh my God. So anyway, before I get to the judgment, she's got, she has 2 kids, and she's also a part-time rapper. And, she had, if you're forgetting which one I'm talking about, she has like a flawless, like skin and like pretty face, cute little space in the middle of her teeth, like very cute, skinny. She can wear anything, and this like sort of green. It goes like from like a dark to like a fluorescent green to like a lighter fluorescent green. It's a sight. And the baby hairs that come like down right down yonder, just and there's like two layers of them. It and she's in the beauty industry. It's something else. It's really something else. I'm not for spider lashes, though. In some scenes, like when she was just wearing her own natural face, beautiful. She's beautiful. And then, another scene she has on like spider lashes. That's like, oh my God, I just don't understand this trend. And quite frankly, like there's some trends that just need to die, and I hope that one dies soon. Something more. I'm just more of a person, like, if you're going to do something fake, just make it look like it blends in. You know what I mean? Not like you can see it from across the street. So anyway, yeah, so she plans on moving her and her two kids, like just uprooting them and taking them to go live with him. Because he's from Atlanta, I believe. And yeah, they've never met in person. And she's just going to do that. And I don't know. I mean, does CBS like watch this show? I wonder if that happens. We never hear about that on the back scene. Like, I mean, child protectors. I mean, how do you do that to children? But we find out, well, not we find out, but it kind of is revealed a little bit later on, some of her backstory and why she would possibly entertain a sort of situation like this when she has children. Let's see. So who else? Next we have Andy, who's 44, and Brittany, who's 36, in Georgia. So this is another shit show right here. So he's a former police officer of 13 years. 13 years, okay? So he met Brittany and... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Andy, okay, wait, we have another Brittany. Okay, sorry. Andy and Brittany, not Brittany and Karak. Okay, yeah, so he's been a police officer for 13 years, and he met her on an inmate website, like a lot of the other people have met their partners. And I'm just like, wow, maybe that's the business I need to be in, because it is obviously profitable. People are meeting people and creating lives and families and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, so what part, I mean, him having been on the other side of law, like, I wonder if he was like the type of cop that used to like, maybe date people, like, that he wasn't supposed to date back in the day. Like, what makes someone who was on that side of the law for so many years decide to cross over and, enter to the pool of felons for his potential mate? And it's really sad, his situation. Like, his ex-wife became an addict, and then she left him with the children, and he had to raise them by himself. So then he had to quit his job because now he couldn't do the night shift anymore, and he had to just completely change careers. So it's just interesting. It's not like he was a cop and then he happened to have met someone who, well, how do you just happen to meet someone in jail? I don't know. Maybe if he had a friend who had someone who was in jail. I don't know. That's still kind of crazy. But like, for him to literally go on a pen pal website and to seek someone who is currently incarcerated is mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. So and I forgot what she went to jail for, but she sounded like she was hell on wheels for a little while. And he's been consulting with his friend who is still a current police officer, who's just like, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? So now we go over to Brittany and is it Karak? I think the name is. She's 22, he's 25, and they live in Richmond, Virginia, or she lives in Richmond, Virginia. And the interesting thing about this is that they met when they were both in prison. And Brittany has been out for 4 months. She's been out for 6 months after doing a 3-year stint for armed robbery. She got talked into doing robbery. Once again, another perfectly cute girl. You just can't understand what's going on upstairs. And apparently she met Karak while Karak was in prison with her. However, at the time, Karak was Karak is a trans man. So at that time, Karak was still living in the prison as a woman, and therefore being incarcerated with other women, and then transitioned while she was incarcerated. So during that time, those two became, a couple. Now, I don't know if she knew her before the transition, or if she met, I don't, or if she, by the time she met Karak, was Karak a him at that time, or I'm not really sure. So that's interesting. Within itself, and Karak seems like Karak's full of shit too. I mean, a lot of them that are in prison, like sometimes you get the feeling of some of them like, oh, this one's gonna, this one might make it, this one may, really do good, but I was not getting that from Karak. And the girl, she's just, what's her name, Brittany, she's just, her head's in the clouds, she just, she says she wants better for herself now and everything, but I just can't believe. Well, she's very young though. When you're really young, you can make a lot of mistakes like that. So, she's 22. She's been locked up for 3 years. So, was she 18, 19 when she committed the crime? So, hopefully she's learned from that and is able to move on. But her mentality seems still a little too fresh in them prison streets. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. Let's see what else. All right. So then we go back to Letitia. I don't know how to say her name. I'll say Letitia. So she breaks the news to her staff, her all-female staff, that Keith is now going to be their new boss. Okay? The look on those women's faces, and she's looking like, what? Somebody got anything to say about it? You can leave. And it's like, I guess that is the reaction you should expect, because she was so loyal and she was just going so hard for him when she's describing him to other people, and she's really talking him up, and oh, what a great person he is, and you guys just don't know him and stuff like that. For her to be so ride or die at this point where she's willing to fire any employee because they're uncomfortable that they would have to take orders from someone who's in prison, like, it just, these scripts, they write themselves. It's just so absolutely nuts. So I know those women are like, okay, they're probably going home and they're like, all right, let me refresh in my LinkedIn, because what else? What are you supposed to do? That woman is insane. She's out of her mind. So, all right. So then the next person would be Renika. So Renika, this is Renika with the green, the very long flowing fluorescent green hair. She meets up with her dad. Now, her father he looks surprised when she breaks the news that she's going to be picking up stakes and moving the children down to live with this man in Atlanta. Her dad's surprised, but he's mostly hurt because he was away for 18 years. So he feels like he's just now, really getting to reestablish his life and reestablish his relationships with his children, and now she's up and leaving. And she's up and leaving him for someone who's also like him. And she says, well, you know what? You weren't there for me, Dad, and perfectly fair. And this is just like, I don't know, sometimes you see on YouTube, some of the psychologists get on there and they give you like their little breakdowns of like the mentality that we just cannot understand on people on reality shows. And I'm just waiting to see something on this, because it's all laid out right there. There's no mystery. She didn't have a father. She felt like she was missing out in his absence, therefore seeking not so great relationships, with the exes of the kids, and now a new guy. And I think that's what trauma can do, can make us, suspend that very critical thinking that we're supposed to have naturally. But I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that. Critical thinking is something that you develop more. Maybe common sense might be a little bit more of a better term. I felt sad, It's always bad, like when you see, like, and I know this is like the, what do they talk about? Pretty privilege. It's a privilege, like when you see someone that's nice looking, and I'm looking at her, and I'm thinking, oh God, it's so terrible. If somebody's like butt ugly, are we thinking, oh, poor thing, But it's like when they're like really nice looking, you just in your mind, you imagine a whole life for them that you feel that they could have and stuff. And it's like, oh man, I'm not liking the decision making already, but this is, Love After Lockups, their franchise, which is Love During Lockup. So we're not expecting a lot of, a lot of sharp drawers in the knife here. So the very last scene is Jade. So Jade is so one of her sisters is having her 30th birthday party, and they're celebrating, they're having a good time. I mean, that place just looks so nice, right? And Chris is calling and calling and calling and calling. He just won't stop calling her. And she says, oh, this is what he does. And when she doesn't pick up, then he calls the sisters. And the sister's like, oh my God, he's calling. Should I pick up? I don't know what to do. Why is he calling me? And it seems like there's some attachment issues there. We get to hear, I'm sure we'll get to hear more about his backstory. I'm very interested to hear, more about Chris. I'm particularly interested in his backstory. So I don't know why he's calling her just like nonstop like that. She's having a party. Like, what is this new thing? I noticed I was watching 90 Day Fiancé the other way. The new season started, and I noticed that it's like a thing now with these couples where, as long as there's a Wi-Fi signal, God forbid, as long as there is a tower within 10 miles, they are on these, video calls for just hours and hours. Like one couple, they do it for 24/7. They just like go to sleep. They just keep the camera going. Like, who lives like that? Like, how do you work? How do you have a life? How do you pursue different things like that? I mean, you can't just constantly be on the phone all day. You have to give a person time to miss you, right? But I guess he feels like she's my wife now, so I done locked this down. So, you're going to have to deal with me pestering you all the time. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like when he comes home from prison. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm going to keep this short. This is just our introduction to our new couples. We'll get to find out, more in-depth details about, the tomfoolery that's going to go on and the shenanigans, which I shall be here for. So I will see you guys next week. I hope you're staying safe, taking care. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next week. Chipisalacho.